Welcome to Dark Horizon Creations. I'm Mike, and today I have a very special video review for you. We're going to begin a new series on the Halo Spartan Collection by Wicked Cool Toys. Now, this is the 6-inch scale line of figures that have been released by Wicked Cool Toys. They premiered last year here in the US at retail alongside the 4-inch scale line called World of Halo. And both lines are phenomenal. I think that Wicked Cool Toys has knocked it out of the park. I believe they have learned lessons from both McFarlane and Mattel's experience with the Halo franchise and applied that to their own line. And they have just gone above and beyond with both of these assortments that they're producing. So we're going to start things off today with Kat. She, of course, was part of Noble Team in the 2010 video game Halo Reach, and she is a fan favorite. And I have repainted this action figure. So what I want to do today is touch on the selling points of the figure, talk about things that they got right, things that they could improve, and show you guys the paints that I used, and talk a little bit about the process for repainting this figure. So to begin with, the first thing you notice with the Spartan Collection, of course, is the packaging. Really, really nicely done display box with a window panel there. The figure, all the accessories, that are included are easily visible. You can see it from different angles. You can see the included card in the back, which has a code for Halo Infinite. There's a very minimalist design to the packaging. On top, it's got the UNSC lettering. Side panel has an image of Kat's head sculpt. And then on the back, for the Spartan Collection, you have, of course, your obligatory product shots. On the World of Halo 4-inch scale, you don't see this. They just have a image of the Master Chief. And that's a cost-saving measure that they've done on both lines to use as a selling point. And, that provides them with more resources to turn around and invest into the toys themselves, and that's exactly what they do. This line is really, really nicely done. Incredible articulation, the details, the posability. The only thing that I would say that they could have done differently before I even opened the packaging on this is to include a display stand. For me, when I purchase a 6-inch figure, that's one of the things that I like to see. And as an example, I'll use Wonder Woman here from McFarlane. You can see that she includes a display stand. And, let's be realistic. It's impossible to pose an action figure without a display stand. It really is. They're not going to hold a pose like that for very long without falling over or something if you don't have a stand to display them on. And of course, you can buy them aftermarket. A display stand is not a make or break thing, but for say an extra $1 added on to the price of the figure, it would be well worth the cost. It really would. And here in the US, these figures retail for $19.99, and I think that's an appropriate price point for these figures. I would even suggest that, with inflation and, COVID and things that have gone on, we may see them for around $24.99 before it's all said and done. But if we do, again, it's not a make or break thing. They're worth the cost. So let's go ahead and take the figure out of the packaging. I want to be careful because one of her hands has fallen out of the tray. And I'll just hold this up so you guys can get a better look at the tray, but everything's in there. I'm going to start by removing the weapons. Okay, So I want to start with the head sculpt. And you guys can see that I've repainted this. So what I did was I used brown oxide by Apple Barrel, and I exclusively use these paints to repaint her hair. And I dry brushed on some black for texturing, and you guys can see there. And then I went to her eyeshadow. That's dry brush. That's also brown oxide. And I used this Tuscan red to paint her lipstick, as well as to do her blush. And I think it turned out really well. I did not repaint the skin tone. I didn't touch the eyes. I left those as they are, and I think it turned out really, really nice. Next thing I did was I repainted the helmet, and I used a wash on the entire figure. Black wash, again, Apple Barrel. And I did the entire figure in 1 or 2 coats of wash, and I used that same black to dry brush on some weathering and things in different areas, and it'd make her look really dirtied up. And I was thinking about the commercial that we saw for Halo Reach, where she's knocked down and Noble 6 takes the bomb and flies up to the Covenant cruiser, and she looks, you know, really messed up in that video. And I also used this Folk Art metallic gunmetal gray. Now, Folk Art and Apple Barrel are owned by the same parent company, Plaid Crafts. It's just 2 different lines. So I used this because it has a metallic sheen to it for dry brushing and weathering. And there's some here on her bodysuit. You can see that. Back of her armor back here. And some of this was already weathered from the factory. I just highlighted it. I did some on the helmet as well. And that's really all that I did to the figure itself for weathering. Now, the M6 Galilean Spartan laser, I also did it in a wash. I used that same metallic gunmetal gray to highlight the metallic parts of the weapon. And I dry brushed on some black as well. And I did the same thing with the M6 Magnum. I don't know why they gave the Spartan laser and the Magnum the same designation. You rarely see that in the military, but sometimes it does happen, but it's usually between 2 completely different components. Like a weapon system may have the designation, and then there may be, you know, an aircraft component with the same designation. But rarely do you ever see 2 weapons with the same designation. That's almost never done. And I think that's just an oversight on the part of the creators. Let's talk about articulation on this figure. The joints were a little bit loose, particularly the robotic arm. I really like the fact that we get butterfly joints on here, and you can see those there. On this side. This one, I don't know if it moves in or out or not. I don't know. Maybe that's just the way it is because it's a robotic arm. But this one does have the butterfly joint. And the other figures in this line do as well. You get forward and lateral rotation, air ball joint for the shoulder. And of course it rotates up here, which is really nice because of the shoulder armor. It doesn't rotate at the elbow, but the elbow, as you can see, is double jointed. Okay, wrist swivel. Chest is on a ball joint. This is the one area, if I had to suggest an improvement, it would be on the ball joint for the chest, because when I pulled this out of the box, it was extremely loose. You know, she had complete movement, but it wasn't stiff at all. You know, when you displayed it or moved it, I mean, she just kind of flopped back and forth. And what I did was I used Gorilla Glue on the ball joint and then popped the torso back on, and that's tightened it down some. Forward and lateral movement there at the thigh, of course, thigh rotation as well. double jointed knee, really tight, really nice knee joints there. And that allows you to put the figure in some really incredible poses. Ball joint swivel there for the ankles. So just really, really nice posability. And of course the head is on a ball joint. Really easy to swap them out. Just gently pull on the head and then take the opposite one, line it up with the ball joint, push it down into place. For the weapons, there's a peg on the back for the Galilean, and you can see that the port is deep, and this is soft rubber. I don't like that. It's a little bit stiffer than the one used for the Magnum pistol, and I'll show you that in a moment. So when you remove the figure from the packaging, this peg is actually turned around and pushed into her thigh armor. You just pop it out, flip it around, and push it back in. The issue is it has a tendency to fall out. There's not enough tension there to keep it in, so I glued it in place so that it wouldn't fall out, because if you lose it, that's it. This is really soft rubber, and if you look at it, you can kind of see the stress points where I stressed it earlier. And the reason for that, the port is not cut that deep into the pistol. So when you go to push it in, that's about as far as it's going to go in. And it has a tendency to come out. And again, if I were going to say they needed to improve something, it would be little stuff like this. I would make that peg hard plastic, and I would cut a different notch in for the pistol. You can also look at the figure and tell that her hips are anatomically correct, just like a female should be. And I think they did a phenomenal job on that. And I've already seen images of the Spartan Palmer figure, and she is done exactly the same way. So they, again, did a really, really great job on this figure. And if you're curious about the exact height, there's a ruler. She stands right at 7 inches tall. That's a McFarlane Batman figure. He's also 7 inches. There's a Black Series Hoth Rebel Trooper for comparison. He stands right at 6 inches. And that would be accurate if they were to make an ODST or a UNSC Army soldier. And that would be really, really great. I hope they do. I'd love to have an Army builder figure to go along with the Spartans. So ladies and gentlemen, there you have Spartan Cat from Noble Team. Really phenomenal character, fan favorite again. You know, and it's just, you know, these are incredible figures. I love both of these lines, Spartan Collection and the World of Halo. And I plan on doing a discussion video on this line. And I just think that, you know, if the fans get behind what Wicked Cool Toys is offering, and they, you know, buy the product, that we're going to see some really amazing things in the near future. I've already begged the marketing team for a Pelican for the World of Halo. I don't know that they're going to do it, but I've begged them, please produce a Pelican, you know, a Vulture, a Saber, Cougar, Scorpion. We want all the vehicles. So I really, really hope they take that seriously, because that would just make this line amazing. But, you know, if you haven't collected these figures, if you've been holding out, I would recommend you start collecting now, because they fly off the shelves as soon as stores restock them. They're very difficult to find in Walmart. The World of Halo, not so much. I have seen those, but I haven't seen a lot of these. And I have yet to see Series 2 in a store. I'm going to wind up having to order Series 2 offline to acquire those. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the video review. Leave your comments below if you've got any questions about the repaints or things like that, or you got a figure you'd like me to do for you. You can email me directly at darkhorizon.creations@gmail.com. If you haven't, please follow, like, and subscribe to my Instagram and my YouTube channel. I also have a Facebook page, Dark Horizon Creations. The original page was deleted, so I'm having to do the new page from scratch, which means all my photos and stuff are going to have to be re-uploaded to that page. And really appreciate all the support, like interacting with people. I think I'm up to like 237 subscribers on YouTube now, and upgraded. I've got an iPhone 11, and I'm doing all my photos and videos with it, and I just love the editing features of Adobe and Warble. The iPhone 11 is just fantastic. You know, you can't beat it for doing photos and videos. I think it's a phenomenal piece of equipment. So thank you guys again for watching. Stay tuned. There's more to come.